Chapter 14, Addiction or Habit? You might have asked yourself, is this just a habit or is it a real addiction? Well, the answer matters because understanding what you're really dealing with makes all the difference. Habits are things we can repeat without thinking, like brushing your teeth, scrolling on your phone first thing in the morning, or locking the door before bed. They can be stubborn, sure, but they don't hijack your brain. Nicotine does. Nicotine is an addictive chemical that fits perfectly into the brain's reward system. It mimics a natural chemical called acetylcholine, which plays a role in everything from memory to muscle movement. And when nicotine binds to those receptors, it triggers a release of dopamine, a feel-good chemical that gives you a hit of pleasure, focus, or stress relief. That burst feels good for a moment, but over time, nicotine rewires your brain. It corrupts the reward center, making smoking feel more important than survival needs, like healthy food, connection, even sex. Why does it get so hard to quit? Because your brain starts to crave nicotine more than anything else, and because each puff, each vape reinforces the cycle. What's even more serious is this. Nicotine disrupts your brain's ability to regulate dopamine on its own. That can lead to depression or losing the ability to feel joy from ordinary things, like laughing with your grandkids or watching the sunrise. And often, when smoking alone isn't enough, people turn to other behaviors just to feel better. Alcohol, gambling, overeating, overspending. It becomes a hunt for the next hit of reward, not because you're weak, but because you're wired into a system that was never meant to be driven by addiction. But there is hope. Your brain can heal, your body can renew, and your heart can be restored. God knew how easy it would be for us to fall down this rabbit hole. He made a way out. You are not trapped. You are transforming. So let me ask you this. Can you say, hello, my name is, and I'm a nicotine addict, not with shame, but with honesty? Because owning the truth is where your freedom begins. Big Tobacco may have designed this trap, but you have the power, with God's help, to walk free. Let's break the cycle together. Let's heal what's been hijacked. And let's remember this simple truth. Addiction is physical dependence plus emotional dependence. But freedom? That's where body, mind, and spirit come back into alignment. You were made for freedom. Let's keep moving forward. Are you physically dependent? Physical dependence happens when your body gets used to having nicotine regularly. When nicotine levels drop, withdrawal symptoms kick in, making the quitting process uncomfortable. Cravings, irritability, anxiety, trouble concentrating, restlessness, even headaches or sleep problems are all common. Some people feel digestive discomfort, tingling in their hands, or notice a drop in heart rate. But everyone's experience is different. Your symptoms might be shaped by how long you've smoked, how much you use, your genetics, and your overall health. Now let's take a moment for a quick self-check. I'm going to ask you a few questions. Just answer yes or no honestly and from the gut. Do you smoke even when you're sick? Do you ignore the health risks of smoking? Have you tried to quit before? Do you smoke outside, even in bad weather? Do you crave cigarettes most after meals? Do you experience withdrawal when trying to stop? Do you find yourself vaping constantly, even in places you never intended to, like bed or the supermarket? Do you start your day with a cigarette or vape? Now count how many times you said yes. 1 to 2 yeses might mean your physical dependence is low. 3 to 4 suggests a moderate level. You'll need a little more support and structure. 5 or more, your physical dependence is likely high. That doesn't mean you can't quit. It just means we'll need to be intentional and strategic as you move forward. Let's talk about next steps. If your dependence is low to moderate, you can start by setting a quit date unless that feels overwhelming. In that case, you can move towards not smoking or vaping again gently as you work through this program. Identifying and eliminating triggers. Replacing old habits with healthier ones. Creating a smoke-free space around you. And most importantly, stop smoking or vaping and don't start again, no matter what comes your way. Your freedom is worth protecting. If your dependence is moderate to high, At these steps, prepare to tolerate withdrawal for 4 to 8 weeks. You can do it. Treat withdrawal wisely. Avoid sugar and processed foods, and drink plenty of water to flush your system. If you're using nicotine replacement therapy, complete the full 8 to 12-week course before transitioning. Practice visualization. Close your eyes and imagine handling life's challenges as a calm, confident non-smoker. You already know what works best for you. And finally, challenge every negative thought. Most of them are old lies your addiction taught you. You don't need them anymore. The journey isn't easy, but it's possible. Your body has an incredible ability to heal. Your brain can relearn joy. Your spirit is stronger than any craving. Every step forward brings you closer to freedom. So don't just hope for it. Are you emotionally dependent? While physical dependence is significant, emotional dependence on nicotine can be even more challenging to overcome. Emotional dependence involves the way smoking or vaping becomes intertwined with managing emotions, coping with stress, and navigating daily life. To help you reflect, here's a short assessment. I'll ask a few questions. Simply answer yes or no to each. No pressure, just honesty. Do you reach for a cigarette or vape when you're upset, stressed, or overwhelmed? Do you feel anxious at the thought of not having access to nicotine? Do you associate smoking or vaping with comfort, relaxation, or pleasure? Do you use nicotine as a reward for getting through hard moments or completing tasks? Have you ever thought of smoking or vaping as a friend, a source of comfort, or part of who you are? Do you feel like social situations are less enjoyable without smoking or vaping? Do you struggle to imagine coping with strong emotions without nicotine? Does the idea of quitting feel like losing part of your identity? Now, count how many times you said yes. If you said yes to 1 or 2, you may have a low emotional attachment to nicotine. Breaking the habit may feel more like changing a routine than replacing something deeper. If you said 3 or 4, you may have a moderate emotional dependence. Strengthening your emotional toolkit and building healthier sources of comfort will make a difference. If you said yes to 5 or more, you likely have a strong emotional bond with smoking or vaping, and that's okay. Awareness is your first step. We will walk through strategies to gently untangle those ties and help you find peace without nicotine. You've repeated these behaviors so many times, it's possible you now light up even without thinking. It might be a specific place, an emotional trigger, or just being around someone who smokes. That's not failure, it's conditioning, and it can be undone. Here's what quitting will require from here. Make a committed decision to quit. Use focused smoking every time you smoke or vape until your quit day. Fill in your focused smoking log to learn your personal patterns. Identify all emotional and situational triggers and create solutions that fit your life. Begin eliminating those triggers as you're ready. Replace smoking with hobbies and activities that bring you joy and purpose. Lean on your social support system to encourage you, celebrate your progress, and help you stay on track. And when the day comes, stop smoking or vaping and never take another puff. Quitting is a process of unlearning what nicotine taught your mind and remembering who you really are. Healing both body and heart takes time, but every mindful choice you make brings you closer to the whole, capable, and free version of you that's already beginning to emerge. So you might ask, why me? You've repeatedly inhaled 2 very addictive chemicals, nicotine and carbon monoxide. These substances didn't just change how you felt in the moment. They began changing how your brain and body worked over time. Nicotine reaches your brain within just 7 seconds. It stimulates the nervous system, making you feel alert, focused, and paradoxically, also relaxed. At the same time, carbon monoxide produces a calming effect, adding to that illusion of relief. But this relief comes at a cost. Nicotine hijacks the parts of your brain responsible for survival needs, like hunger, hydration, and connection. Over time, it rewires your reward system, making smoking feel more important than food, relationships, or rest. And it goes deeper. Repeated nicotine exposure destroys the enzyme that regulates dopamine, the very chemical responsible for your joy and motivation. That's why many people who smoke start to feel flat or low without it. The good news? That balance can be restored. The brain can heal. Now here's something you might not know. A cigarette is considered a drug delivery device by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. When burned, tobacco releases more than 7,000 chemicals, and at least 70 of them cause cancer. Many of these chemicals are deliberately added by the tobacco industry to stabilize nicotine and keep it potent, to slow the burn so it lasts longer, to numb your throat and lungs so you don't cough, and even sweeten the taste with chocolate or fruit flavoring, especially in products aimed at kids. Menthol cigarettes are particularly harmful because they open your airways, making it easier to inhale toxins deeper into your lungs. That makes them easier to start, harder to quit, and more damaging in the long term. Here's something else. Some tobacco companies have used genetically modified tobacco to double the nicotine content. Others increase ammonia levels to boost nicotine absorption. If you found quitting harder than others, it's because the product was designed to hook you. The industry knew exactly what it was doing, and sadly, governments around the world have allowed them to continue doing it with minimal accountability. If you've ever felt like you were blamed for your addiction, like it was all your fault, hear this. You are not the problem. The system is. Now that you know the truth, you are the solution, because truth sets you free, and truth leads to action. So take heart. You're not stuck. You're stepping into freedom. Understanding addiction, breaking free from nicotine's hold. Addiction is a complex interaction between genetics, environment, and behavior. Understanding how nicotine addiction works can empower you in your quit journey by helping you recognize your struggle isn't a personal weakness. It's a biological and psychological response to a powerfully addictive substance. Let's do a wee recap. Nicotine acts on the brain by binding to receptors that normally respond to acetylcholine, a natural neurotransmitter involved in learning, memory, and muscle movement. When nicotine mimics acetylcholine, it triggers the release of dopamine, creating feelings of pleasure and reward. This dopamine release is why smoking or vaping can feel temporarily good, reduce stress, or improve concentration. But that rush isn't lasting. It was never meant to replace peace, purpose, or connection. Those came from a deeper place. What makes nicotine particularly powerful is how quickly it acts. When you inhale cigarette smoke or vapor, nicotine reaches your brain within 7 seconds or so, creating an almost immediate reward that strongly reinforces the behavior. This rapid delivery system makes nicotine more addictive than many other substances, including alcohol, cocaine, and heroin for some individuals. With repeated exposure, the brain adapts to nicotine in several ways. It creates more nicotine receptors, which makes you need more nicotine to feel satisfied. It reduces its natural production of dopamine, meaning you need nicotine to feel normal. The brain also forms strong neural pathways, connecting smoking with various activities, emotions, and situations. These changes explain why quitting can be so challenging. Your brain has literally rewired itself around nicotine dependency. But here's the good news. The brain is remarkably adaptable. Once you quit, your brain begins to heal and form new, healthier connections. This process, called neuroplasticity, is your greatest ally in breaking free from addiction. Harnessing neuroplasticity, rewiring your brain for freedom. Neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new neural connections and pathways throughout life, is perhaps your most powerful ally in overcoming nicotine addiction. This remarkable capacity means that no matter how deeply entrenched your smoking habits are, your brain can change, adapt, and heal. When you smoke, your brain creates strong neural pathways, connecting the act of smoking with rewards, environmental cues, emotional states, and daily activities. These pathways become superhighways in your brain, making smoking feel automatic and necessary. But neuroplasticity means you can create new pathways that don't involve nicotine. Here's how you can harness neuroplasticity to support your quit journey. You can create new associations by deliberately pairing activities you normally associate with smoking with something else pleasurable. This might be sipping a favorite beverage, taking a brief walk, or enjoying a moment of mindfulness. Make a habit of practicing replacement behaviors. The more you repeat healthy alternatives to smoking, the stronger these new neural pathways become. Consistency is what makes these new pathways strong and lasting. Take time for visualization exercises. Your brain responds powerfully to mental imagery. Regularly picture yourself as a confident non-smoker, handling situations without cigarettes and enjoying the benefits of being smoke-free. Remember to use positive emotions to your advantage. Learning is enhanced when you're feeling good. Celebrate your victories, no matter how small, to strengthen those new non-smoking neural pathways. Physical exercise is remarkably helpful. Regular activity promotes the growth of new neurons and neural connections while reducing cravings and stress. Consider incorporating mindfulness practice. Mindfulness meditation increases gray matter in brain regions associated with self-awareness, self-control, and attention, all valuable assets for quitting smoking. Don't underestimate the importance of good sleep. Rest is essential for consolidating new learning and neural connections. Make good sleep hygiene a priority during your quit journey. Remember that while old pathways may fade, they never completely disappear. This explains why long-term ex-smokers can occasionally experience cravings when exposed to strong triggers. The good news is that with each smoke-free day, your new, healthier neural pathways grow stronger while the smoking pathways weaken from disuse. The genetic component of addiction. Genetics play a significant role in becoming addicted to nicotine and how difficult it is to quit. Research, including twin studies, has revealed that approximately 50 to 75% of your vulnerability to nicotine addiction is hereditary. Specific gene variations affect how quickly your body metabolizes nicotine, with faster metabolizers often smoking more heavily and finding it harder to quit. Genetics influence the structure and function of your nicotine acetylcholine receptors, your dopamine signaling system, and your sensitivity to the rewarding effects of nicotine. This genetic component explains why some people can try a cigarette and never develop a dependency, while others become addicted quickly. It also helps explain why certain racial and ethnic groups have different patterns of nicotine metabolism and addiction vulnerability. Understanding your genetic predisposition doesn't mean you can't quit. It simply means you might need to approach quitting with strategies tailored to your specific challenges. For instance, slower nicotine metabolizers often do well with nicotine replacement therapy, while faster metabolizers might benefit from more non-nicotine medications like varenicline. Nicotine, mental health, and emotions. The relationship between nicotine, mental health, and emotions is complex and often misunderstood. Many people start smoking during adolescence or young adulthood, a critical time for brain development and emotional regulation. Because of this, smoking can become deeply tied to emotional management, making it feel like a coping tool rather than an addiction. Contrary to popular belief, smoking may offer temporary relief from stress or anxiety, but in the long run, it actually makes these feelings worse. When nicotine levels drop, withdrawal symptoms like irritability, anxiety, and tension set in. Lighting up a cigarette seems to ease these feelings, but all it's really doing is relieving withdrawal symptoms that smoking caused in the first place. Over time, this cycle reinforces the false belief that smoking helps with stress, when in reality, it's only making anxiety and depression worse. The good news is that quitting smoking typically leads to significant improvements in mental health. A large study published in 2014 found that quitting is linked to reduced depression, anxiety, and stress. Even better, people who quit reported improved mood and overall quality of life. sometimes at levels comparable to or even greater than the benefits of antidepressants used for mood disorders. If you have a diagnosed mental health condition, it's especially important to prepare for quitting in a way that supports your well-being. Working closely with healthcare providers can help you navigate the process. Combining behavioral strategies with medication if needed can make withdrawal more manageable. Planning for any temporary mood shifts during the quitting process can help you stay on track. Most importantly, remind yourself that improved mental health is one of the biggest benefits of quitting smoking. What's really in a cigarette? Now that we've talked about addiction and what it does to your brain, let's take a look at what's actually in a cigarette. Would you still want to smoke if the ingredients were listed on the label? Because here's the truth. Many of the same chemicals found in cigarettes are also found in toilet cleaner, paint stripper, car exhaust, rat poison, rocket fuel, mothballs, nail polish remover, gas chamber poison, lighter fluid, insecticide, and battery acid. You heard that right. Nicotine alone is a powerful, addictive pesticide, but it doesn't stop there. Big Tobacco adds substances like ammonia to make nicotine hit harder, menthol to numb your throat so the smoke feels smoother, and sugar to hide the harshness and make it easier to inhale. Sugar and cocoa aren't innocent ingredients. They're used to make smoke more addictive, especially for first-time smokers, women, and children. There are over 7,000 chemicals in tobacco smoke. 70 of them are proven to cause cancer, and not a single one is there to help you thrive. Imagine picking up a pack that read, contains arsenic, butane, lead, and formaldehyde. Would you choose to smoke it? Because that's what's happening. With no warning, no label, no honesty. It's time the truth is spoken clearly. This isn't a natural product. It's a chemical weapon, marketed as stress relief. What's really in a vape? You might think vaping is safer than smoking, but let's pause and look closer. Vape liquid itself can contain between 2,000 and 3,000 chemicals, and even more are produced when the liquid is heated into vapor. Many of these substances are unregulated, unstable, and untested when inhaled into the lungs. So let me ask you this. Would you still vape if the label said, "You're inhaling formaldehyde, used in funeral homes to preserve bodies. You're breathing in diacetyl, a chemical known to cause popcorn lung. You're exposed to heavy metals like nickel, lead, and tin, coming straight from the heating coil. You're inhaling volatile organic compounds, like benzene, found in car exhaust. You're drawing in flavoring chemicals like acetone and 2,3-butanedione, linked to lung damage. And let's not forget that many vape solutions are still laced with nicotine, deliberately flavored and packaged to appeal to teens and first-time users. Cotton candy, mango, bubblegum. It's not a coincidence. The truth is, vapes don't burn tobacco, but they still deliver addiction and harm, just wrapped in a sweeter, quieter lie. You've got to wonder, if the label told the truth, would anyone pick it up? The following story is a picture of that experience, an analogy from the storm of the stillness, for the tug of addiction and the hope of rescue. We call it the Sea of Addiction. The Sea of Addiction. Danny loved sailing on the Sea of Addiction, whether alone or with friends. He found comfort in the water, sometimes calm, sometimes rough, but always familiar. On smooth days, he would kick back and relax. On stormy ones, he felt powerful, in control, invigorated. He was king of the sea. Danny had been sailing for so long that he had forgotten what it felt like to stay on dry land. His old goal, to hike Mount Everest camp base with his friend Craig, had faded into the background. Land didn't call to him the way water did. Then one day, everything changed. His phone rang, devastating news. His father, a seasoned sailor, had drowned in the treacherous waters off the coast of Tobacco. Numb, Danny realized he had spent years sailing those same dangerous waters, thinking he was untouchable. He wished he could save his father, but it was too late. Deep down, he knew that if he kept going, the sea would claim him too. He told his family he would leave the water behind for good, He would step into the shore of freedom and stay there. But even on dry land, the sea still called to him. Instead of moving inland to build a new life, Danny lingered near the shore, gazing at the waves with longing. One evening, he walked along the beach, thinking about the good times, his father, his friends, the thrill of sailing. A dangerous thought slipped into his mind. Waiting wasn't sailing. He stepped forward. 6 months after quitting the sea, Danny came home tired and stressed. Seeking comfort, he wandered down to the beach where his best friend Craig was preparing to set sail. Chris waved him over, inviting him back onto the boat. The old life, the one that drowned his father, stood right in front of him. Danny froze. The call of the sea was strong. He could climb aboard. He could sail again, just once. But then he remembered the deep waters that had taken his father, and the dangerous waves he had convinced himself he could handle, but he knew deep down he wasn't in control at all. With resolve, Danny waved goodbye to Chris, turned away, and pulled out his phone. He dialed his friend Paul, who had once been a sailor, but now spent his spare time golfing with his wife and friends. "Teach me how to play golf," Danny said. Danny was choosing a new path, a new life, a future free from the sea. Key to the analogy: the sea of addiction, the brain's reward center, constantly influenced by emotions, hormones, stress, and cravings. Boat, the loss of freedom of choice due to addiction. Water, nicotine's influence on neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin. Calm water, the relaxing effect of nicotine. Deep water, the chemical hijacking that keeps addiction in control. Mountainous seas, the dangerous cycle of needing more nicotine despite its harm. Waiting, thinking about smoking, lingering near addiction rather than fully stepping away. Shore of freedom, the moment of quitting. Coast of tobacco, the chemical manipulation of nicotine that dulls awareness of harm. Chris, the saboteur, the friend who encourages relapse. Dad, the smoking role model, reinforcing addiction from childhood. Dry land, true freedom, free from addiction's grip. Inland, life without smoking, new habits, new goals. Golf, any activity that replaces addiction, creating a new identity. Water hazard, temptations to return to smoking. To fully break free from addiction, you must move away from the lifestyle that supports it. Nicotine creates the illusion that you can choose to quit whenever you want, but true choice only comes after breaking the cycle completely. Danny chose not to wade in dangerous waters. He chose not to listen to Chris calling him back. Instead, he built a new life inland, far from the sea. Rewiring your brain after quitting. Quitting smoking isn't about breaking a habit. It's about rewiring your brain. Nicotine has shaped the way your mind processes cravings, rewards, and emotions. Now, without it, your brain is rebuilding itself, forming new connections that support a smoke-free lifestyle. Dr. Carolyn Leaf's research challenges the old idea that habits change in just 21 days. She explains that while new thoughts form in the first 3 weeks, they take 63 days to become fully ingrained habits. This means that while you may start feeling better soon after quitting, true freedom comes with consistent reinforcement over time. Exercise to calm cravings. This relaxation and visualization exercise helps reset your brain's response to cravings, allowing urges to pass naturally instead of overpowering you. Follow these steps. Turn off distractions, silence your phone, and create a quiet space. Familiarize yourself with the steps. Find a comfortable position. Sit or lie down in a relaxed posture. Breathe deeply. Establish a rhythmic breathing pattern. Inhale for 4 counts, hold for 2, exhale for 4. Adjust based on your lung capacity. This steady rhythm is a kill switch for stress. Relax your body, unclench your jaw, keep teeth slightly apart, lips closed, tongue resting on the roof of your mouth, shoulders relaxed. Continue breathing deeply. Visualize the sea. Picture a vast ocean. Watch the waves. The rough waters represent a craving. It feels strong, but it's beginning to settle down. See the waves smoothing out. As they become calmer, your craving fades. Breathe normally. Feel peaceful and in control. End with positive reinforcement. Cheerfully say to yourself, I love not smoking. Recognizing a craving allows you to actively deal with it instead of feeling powerless. The more you practice, the better you'll get at it. This technique will serve you well when cravings and other stressors arise. Chapter Summary. This chapter unpacked nicotine addiction, physically, emotionally, and generationally. We clarified that it's not just a habit, but a brain-altering dependency. Genetics, engineered products, and emotional triggers all play a role, but healing is possible. Through neuroplasticity, your brain can rewire itself. Withdrawal symptoms aren't just setbacks, they're signs of recovery. The sea of addiction analogy was designed to help you visualize addiction and recovery. Quitting protects your health and future generations. Well done for being here.